When I told her that I had Indigenous heritage, she was like, how? How are you Indigenous? Like, well, my parents had sex. Like, that's...
Did she then ask for a diagram or something?
Indigenous Australians have been doing science for so long, for longer than anybody. It's within our culture and it's within our heritage to do science.
So I want to talk about some of the things that Indigenous communities knew that they never got really credit for. And one of the interesting things is moon halos. Now, they use moon halos to predict when weather was going to turn bad. Firstly, what the hell are moon halos?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a really good question. So basically this optical phenomena where light is being refracted through ice crystals. And so, you know, if we have one stream of light going through one ice crystal, it gets refracted, so it gets bent, it gets pushed in another direction. We get a point, we get 1 point of a halo. So if this happens for a whole bunch of different ice crystals, we eventually get this beautiful ring around the moon. They found a correlation between seeing a moon halo and then there being a storm not long after. So if you can see lots of stars between the halo and the moon, that means there's low humidity. You can actually see quite well. So the rain might be, you know, a few days off. Whereas if you can't see any stars, high humidity, the visibility isn't great, the storm's
It's
here.
coming.
Like it's right here.
You're probably being rained on right now.
Yeah. So this is the instrumentation building. We make instrumentations here to assist in space exploration.
Oh, wow. Jesus. So what does what?
Part of a satellite.
Cool.
Yep. I think there's a large perception out there that Indigenous people didn't really know anything, unfortunately. It's completely untrue, obviously. You know, there's evidence of so many scientific discoveries that can be attributed to Indigenous Australians. You know, Indigenous Australians knew it thousands of years before the rest of the world.
And is that because it wasn't recorded in a way that European history and academic sort of structures sort of respond to?
I don't think so. I don't think that's the issue. Okay. Because there is evidence and tangible evidence. You know, there's rock art. I think the main problem is perception. The perception of it as, you know, it's not worth looking into, or it doesn't matter, it doesn't, there's this perception that it doesn't add anything to Western science, so why would we bother looking at it? So I'm Kamilaroi, also called Gomeroi.
Yep.
So that's kind of northern New South Wales.
Yep, you grew up in Coaldale?
Yeah, so I grew up in Tamworth, Coaldale.
For a period of time, your mum was on disability support, your dad worked at Coles. Do you feel like you were disadvantaged?
It's really interesting. So I definitely, comparatively, sure. I was really poor, you know, I had dirty clothes. We didn't have a washing machine. It was just, and kids know that. They pick up on that. They're like, you smell, your clothes are dirty.
And kids are mean.
Yeah, kids can be jerks.
Yeah. And they grow up to be jerk adults.
Yeah. So that kind of sucked. School sucked, and I just hated school to the point where I actually left school in year 8.
You ended up hating school, but you were the first, I believe, Indigenous woman to graduate in New South Wales with a joint degree in maths and physics, am I right?
Yes, well done. Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, you definitely learnt that you loved learning.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Learning and education was completely different from school for me. And so I was tutored by a elder. She would come. She was the only person I knew that had been to uni, and she would come like every Wednesday afternoon, and we'd do maths together.
Yeah.
would like learn my timetables and stuff. It was really fun. And so I went and did TAFE, and so by the time I finished what traditionally would be year 9, I was doing like year 11, year 12 maths. It wasn't until I actually left my home, moved away and started seeing other people's backgrounds, you know, went to private schools, and which is a huge thing in physics.
Yeah.
My background was very different. You know, we always talk about, you know, these people that are on Centrelink and they're just doing nothing with their lives, and we fail to see that these people come from a cycle of no education, poverty. You know, Centrelink is not anything. You get nothing on Centrelink. It's really hard to live on Centrelink. And you know, we treat them like they're just bludgers.
You have broken a cycle of poverty by achieving incredible academic success. And how do people at home respond to that?
It's kind of twofold. Like, there's this family being so proud and so supportive. I guess there's the other side where, you know, I'm talking about things like, you know, I come from a poor background, you know, I didn't have a washing machine, like all these things, which is hard for family to hear. Like, you know, that's difficult. And then there's also people feel a bit weird when you're kind of in the limelight. And that's very much an Indigenous thing. You know, you don't want to stand out. That is bad. That can lead to very negative consequences. My grandma wasn't allowed to go out and play on the streets with the other kids because people might come around and collect them because she's Aboriginal, and you know, this is 40 years ago.
But that trauma persists in the mentality.
Yeah. So that mentality, this intergenerational trauma comes through, and it's like, okay, we don't want to be visible.
So when you go out and you talk about Indigenous astronomy, do you ever get any pushback?
Like, particular discoveries are attributed to, you know, people like Galileo and Newton and Kepler. And, you know, when you have someone that has just kind of graduated and, you know, I'm young and I'm saying, no, that's not true. Indigenous people knew about it before that. I guess it can be a little bit jarring to people. You know, the end game is knowledge. That knowledge should be attributed correctly. To go out there and be like, I have some really great news, there's all this amazing information, a wealth of knowledge. That's been really refreshing and really, I guess, just makes me really happy.
Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Mark.
An absolute pleasure.
Yeah.